morning to everybody on Tuesday, October 6, 2020. Just 4 weeks away from Election Day today. And I'm pleased to be with you. I'm David Pomeranz. I'm your Tuesday host who's been absent for a few Tuesdays for a variety of reasons, but I'm glad to be back with you today. And I'm back with my favorite guest. You can pan out and show Wendy Steinberg. Now, Wendy, the analogy I would use for this is if you like certain TV shows over time, like I love The Rockford Files. And he had certain people on regular roles, and there was always a special episode because he had a special guest on. So this is a special edition because I have my special guest on.
So I have a reoccurring role on the David Pomeranz show.
Okay, maybe once a month you should be on with me. It's fun for me, and hopefully fun for everybody on a day which is one of those nice early fall days. It's going to be about 69 degrees today. It's sunny and nice out, and maybe a sweater, and get outside and enjoy the beautiful front lawn of the Hebrew home. As we talk about often, there's a lot to see now with the bird feeders and the nature activity outside. It's a lot of fun. So if you can, throw on a sweater, get outside and enjoy it. Nice day to be out.
I told you, it's my favorite time of the year. I love this season.
And on this channel, 88, when shows are not on, we have our bird feeder cam. So you can see one of the feeders up close. Actually, I think you can see two and see the activity. So if you're inside later and you want to check that out too, that's a lot of fun as well. So let's talk about the ingredients of the day, and then Wendy and I will do our chatting a bit. This date in history, a couple of famous things went on. 1926, Babe Ruth hit 3 home runs. It's now baseball playoff season. I don't know if anybody much cares this year about baseball. It's kind of an odd year with no fans in the ballpark, but the Yankees are in the second round of the playoffs and played last night and beat Tampa.
They had an exciting game, right?
Scored 9 runs,
yeah.
A bunch of home runs. But on this date in 1926, the most famous Yankee home run hitter of all time, Babe Ruth, hit 3 home runs, which is not uncommon for him. He hit 714 home runs. And the postseason home runs don't count in that total. So
yeah.
Babe Ruth, who's probably the most famous baseball player, I think, of all time. Also this date in history, some sad things. 1981, Anwar Sadat was assassinated. And in 1973, the Yom Kippur War was on October 6th that started. So a lot of things on this date in history that are sort of nefarious. And one nice one with Babe Ruth. So that's your October 6th. In terms of meals, Olivia's down here, so it's probably not bologna. And no, it is bologna.
No way.
Can you believe it?
Are you serious?
Am I making this up?
Tuesday is bologna day. Wow.
Well, I'll tell you this.
Oh, my.
If you like bologna, I'm your guy. Because every time I'm here, it's bologna. Either I'm speaking bologna, I'm full of bologna,
oh
or
my
I'm eating
gosh.
bologna. But
wow.
It is bologna on a roll today with roasted cauliflower soup as an appetizer. You have alternative choices if you don't love bologna, and you have applesauce for dessert. Dinner is also the same, it must be the same cycle with bologna.
Do you hear, I know, I hear voices. Am I hearing voices in my head or what?
I don't know what's on. Do you hear anything on the...
I hear
Allison's
it.
behind the camera. Hello, Allison. Good morning. Hello. Do you hear any weird noises?
No.
No, I hear it.
Catherine, are you throwing your voice in a ventriloquist kind of way? No. Okay, not at all. And she has a mask on, too. By the way, masks. Let me just stop my... please wear your mask. Wendy and I will talk a little bit about our concerns about some things that are going on and resurgence in certain areas of the city. But the most important thing, we had a Department of Health survey yesterday, study our infection control, perfect survey. But it's a good reminder from them, from us, to each other. Masks are off now because we're doing this. Our masks are with us. They go right on. When I go into Wendy's office to talk to her, we're wearing masks.
Yeah.
People are wearing masks all the time. That's for residents and staff. If you see somebody not wearing a mask, you might remind them, please put on your mask, or let somebody know. That's not an option. That is for everybody's protection. Despite what you might see in the national news, and I won't be political,
right.
Most people who are smart believe that masks are a proper thing to do. Was that overly political?
No, you did just fine. Yes.
Okay. Dinner tonight. We'll start with potato corn chowder. I've never had it.
I like that. That's good.
I love it.
Yeah.
Never had it.
It's
Probably
good.
never will. But I hope people enjoy it.
You like corn?
Do you like corn chowder?
I don't think I've ever had it either.
Oh, it's good.
See if
You
we
never
get
had
some
corn
later
chowder?
If you like to try it.
It's
We can
good.
send some over to you. And we'll have the stuffed sole Florentine ratatouille with Jell-O for dessert.
Okay.
So that's your meal for today. We covered weather. Let's talk about a birthday. We have a birthday today on GP3. we have Judith Z. A very happy and healthy birthday to you. Everybody's sort of having their pandemic birthday as we go through the calendar since we're in month 7, so I think it seems like everybody's going to get a turn
Yes.
of that, which is not terrific. And on the famous side today, Carol Lombard, who is a famous actress. Many of our residents would have seen her work with Humphrey Bogart and others.
Oh.
Celebrated, this date is her birthday many years ago. She's gone now a while, but it was her birthday. I think that covers the docket of elements.
Okay.
I think I've covered all the main elements, and that gives me a chance to chat with you a little bit.
Okay, hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Now, you did something fun a couple of weeks ago, which you suggested that I do, which I will do, which was you went to a drive-in movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I wondered how many of our residents have been to drive-in movies, because back years ago, drive-in movies were very common. And then with the growth of cinemaplexes and so forth, and I think probably real estate issues, like in Elmsford, New York, which is near where I live, it became a Sam's shopping center, like a Costco.
Oh.
There's a big piece of land, and it was more profitable for somebody to convert it into
Shopping.
retail space
Yeah.
than because a drive-in can only really exist after it's dark.
Right.
So you really have space that doesn't do anything for you during the day, and then at night. So I wondered, what was the drive-in experience? Had you been to one years ago? Was this
Yes. Growing up, we definitely had a drive-in near where I lived, also in Rockland County. And so we went to this drive-in near my house. It's a farm, actually, where you do apple picking and pumpkin picking by day. And at night, they put a big screen up. And now they do these drive-ins. So we went with friends, and we drove there. We got the front row, which was great.
Well, that's your thing. I've been
Yes.
to movies with Wendy, full disclosure, and Wendy likes to be in the very front of the theater.
That's the best place to be. If you're in the back, it's like being in your living room watching a television,
That's
right?
a personality thing. There's some people who don't want to be in the front. They would rather leave than be in the front. Catherine, are you a front person?
I'm in the front section, I would say, rather than the back section, but I don't like the because then I can't see everything.
Well, that's
Why?
Allison, you? How about you? You
I'm
like to be in the
solid
front?
mid-center.
Mid-center. Not more mid-center, but I need an aisle. For some reason, I always have to be in an aisle like I'm going somewhere. But some people like to be back a bit, so they have the perspective. But you want to be right in the action.
I'm not saying the first row, but maybe like in a big traditional movie theater, maybe like the 5th row. So you're still in the front, but
I
Anyway,
interrupted you, sorry.
so no, that's okay. So it was great. We went to see the Hunger Games,
Oh, that's a fun one to
which was good. I had seen it a long time ago, but that was
one?
the first one,
Okay.
right? And the friends that I went with had never even seen it, so it was
exciting.
very exciting for them.
Okay.
And it was great. We had a good time. We brought those folding chairs, so we sat outside of our car, as opposed to waiting inside the car. And in terms of the sound, you tune into a particular radio station on FM to hear it, but because we were in the front, there was actually a speaker, so it was loud enough so that if we sat outside, we could hear the speaker. So it was very
Now, in
fun.
the older days, or whenever I went, they used to take a speaker and put it inside
Yes,
the car.
right.
Which is kind of what we did our drive-in visit thing, is replicated
Yes.
on drive-in theaters. But you took a speaker, you rolled down the window a little bit, and you hooked it on. I went to see Paper Moon with Tatum
Oh.
O'Neal. That was the one I saw. It was my first one. And the sound played in, and you walked out of your car to a snack bar. Do you have snack bars you could walk to?
So you have to order everything online. Now, we did not do that because, as you know, this is the farm where they have these wonderful donuts, those apple cider donuts.
Some which you brought me.
Yes.
Full disclosure again.
Right.
I ate.
So, my husband went and got the donuts in advance.
Okay.
So we came with our snacks. We didn't, but
Free snack.
yeah, but you don't leave home without snacks in my family. That's just the way it is. So, but otherwise you would have done it online. And we had so much fun that we're going back with our kids towards the end of the month to see Poltergeist, which is like such a fun, 80s movie. I don't think my kids have seen it. So we're going to go see Poltergeist.
That's nice to find ways during this challenging time to do things that are fun. It's different. Everything is different these days. In fact, there's an article I think in the paper yesterday, the day before, that one of the major chains, Regal Cinemas, is going to shut down.
I know.
Because a lot of the movies that were due to come out, which are big blockbuster, get people to the theaters, like
Tenet
Bond,
and Tenet.
and they're delaying these
Yeah.
movies for quite some time.
Right.
Batman, all these, Wonder Woman, which is a favorite I know in your house. They're delaying those movies back,
I know.
so the theaters don't have any business.
I heard this morning, actually, the Batman was supposed to be in, I think, the spring of 2021, and they just announced it's not going to come out until 2022 now. So they pushed it back even
Has it been
further.
filmed?
Well, I know Robert Pattinson had COVID, so they have been they're filming now. So he's better now, and they're back on set.
So let's, COVID is sort of around everything we're talking about. Let's just spend a minute because it's in the news, and since it's in the news, we think we should talk about it here too. There are pockets that are popping up, what they call hot spots or whatever. And in fact, if I'm not mistaken, they've closed schools in the areas where some of these outbreaks are happening. I think Brooklyn, Queens, maybe in Rockland, Muncie area. Some of that's going on now.
Yeah, Cuomo actually is closing everything, I think, as of today. Mayor de Blasio had, I think, wanted to close things as of Wednesday, but I think the governor actually is closing everything, but non-essential businesses, I think, are still operating.
And this is, again, this world where people are trying to be very cautious to not fall back into circumstances. Why we're talking about wearing masks and all things we're doing. And just to reassure residents and families, perhaps, that are watching on YouTube, we still do the same things and more that we used to do. So testing goes on. Do you want to talk about, because we get tested together, we'll be tested tomorrow?
Yes, we should give a shout out to our swabber, Dolores.
Terrific
She's wonderful.
I mean, if you could be terrific at swabbing.
I mean, everybody's great, but we've been going to Dolores on Wednesdays, so.
And we've been swabbed now probably 20, 25 times.
Well, since June, right?
Started May 20th.
Oh, May 20th, okay.
And just for you're familiar what it is, and I guess our residents have been swabbed too, so you guys know as well. It's just a nasal swab of like a Q-tip into your nose.
Nasal cavity.
Up a little bit, maybe. People think it gets pretty far up there. And they run it, and it takes a few days, but I think it's become more acceptable and common to people now.
Well,
and
certainly.
Staff have to do it once a week, have to.
Right.
Residents as we need to.
Yeah, and it's, it is what it is, and I think it's, I'd rather do it and know that I'm healthy, because there's so many asymptomatic people with COVID, so this way there's no room for error. We're getting everybody checked regularly, and we don't have to worry so much about that.
Yeah, it's funny, since we work in an environment, a health environment, people are always reluctant, at least in my experience, they feel a little standoffish when they see me, and perhaps you, I don't know. And
I hope people don't feel that way when they see me. They don't feel that way when they see you.
Speaking, I mean, you're very embracing, but during COVID times, everybody's a little bit standoffish. I mean, and I think what I tell people, and maybe you do too, is we're probably the safest people because we're checked all the time. It's the other people who are never tested
I know.
who might be carrying that we don't know. But it is part of everyday life. You and I were talking yesterday about an event you went to, and it's, anything we do, anywhere we go, people are thinking about this topic, and I think it's become the central theme of this election year. Again, we will stay away from advocating for one candidate or another, but it is the major topic of everybody's mind. I don't think you could do anything these days, living here, having somebody live here or work here, and not think about it all the time, right?
Yeah, they were doing some research about people having COVID dreams. Did you read about
I
that?
have dreams all the time.
A lot of people are. I forgot what the percentage was, but people are dreaming about COVID a lot, which is understandable because, like you said, it's on everybody's minds. But
well, they used to, when I studied this, interested in this topic in the past, what you're thinking about, maybe something you're watching or reading or whatever you're really focused on, tends to go into your self-conscious when you're sleeping. So we're all thinking about this stuff all the time. I mean, other than when you get home at night, in your little family dynamic, which is kind of what we call our bubbles, right?
Right.
They do it in sports. Teams are like in the bubble, meaning teams don't go out. Like the Yankees are playing Tampa. They're in San Diego. They picked a neutral site. And the Yankees and Tampa are staying at the same hotel. They can't leave the hotel other than to play the game, and then they go back to the hotel. So nobody can get sick and cause a problem like what's going on in football now.
Yes.
Certain teams have infections and the whole team is messed up because those guys are going home and around different people. They're trying to limit the exposure. So your home is kind of your bubble, right?
yes.
And in your house, you take off your mask, but that's really the only place you're doing that. Like we're talking to Catherine, who's off camera. I don't know if you can catch her. Talking about going grocery shopping. You're wearing masks all the time. Unless you're in your bubble, you're protecting yourself.
Well, I even, I wear gloves too. When I go out to the store and all that. I went to the supermarket this morning, and I wear my plastic gloves. you know.
And you wipe down the wagon and.
Yeah, they have the sanitizing wipes, when you go into the stores now. I wipe down, this cart, I wipe my hands again, even though I'm wearing the gloves. When I'm finished with the store, I take the gloves off,
Yeah, for our residents who haven't had the luxury to go out much during this time, it's a very different world in that respect. I went to have a doctor's appointment at New York Presbyterian, a regular doctor's appointment, and I valeted the car.
Oh.
And I was uncomfortable to valet
Yes.
the car because I brought wipes and I was ready to do what I had to do, but I didn't really have to because the guy who greeted me was in PPE. He had all kinds
Really?
of equipment on, and he put plastic over my steering wheel.
Uh-huh.
He took a pouch, put my key
Yeah.
into it, touched nothing.
Yes.
So when he came back to bring me my car, he opened the pouch. I took my own key out. He took the plastic off the steering wheel. He touched nothing.
That's very good, because when I had to actually put my car in a parking garage, which I really prefer not to. I really prefer just to park on the street for that reason, but I had no choice. So I parked it in a garage, and they didn't do the plastic thing. And so I keep a container of wipes in my car, and I was wiping everything down: the steering wheel, the seat buckle, the dashboard.
It's so different now, isn't it?
You have to be careful.
Even when somebody says to you, "Can you sign something?" To the bank,
You bring your own pen,
I
right?
bring your own
So
pen.
do I.
In a restaurant, when I'm picking up food, it's time to sign for the credit card. They're like, "Handing me a pen." I'm like, "No, I have one."
I do the same thing. I keep a pen. I'm like, nope.
And to think about how different that is.
I know. I mean, a year ago, would you have been doing all that? You'd be going to the movies, right? Salad bars would have been open.
What do you think how much has changed in certain industries, which I think will be very hard to come back? I mean, the thought to go to a Broadway show, if you've been to Broadway shows, and I'm sure our residents have been to many Broadway shows over the course of their lives, because New York is lucky enough to have this wonderful theater district and activity. Broadway theaters are tight. Because they want to get as many people in from an economic standpoint, it's revenue. So they're very, it's not very comfortable. The thought of
I
going to a
know.
Broadway show is...
Just yesterday, I had Broadway tickets that I had bought a long time ago. Well, I had Broadway tickets that was supposed to be for this month, actually.
Wow.
And then they said, of course, it's going to be delayed till you're going to get rescheduled for October of 2021. And you can keep your seats and all of that. And just yesterday, I was like, even in a year from now, I just don't feel that I can't see myself in a theater. I just don't feel like I want to put myself at risk, even a year from now. And so I actually just canceled. I just said,
And
give me my
I'm sure
money
you're not
back.
alone, and it's really, that's an industry which could be many years
I
away.
know.
You think it's a lifeblood. People have worked their whole lives.
I know.
People have invested lots of money. It's a major source of entertainment. People travel all over the world to come to New York to go to theater.
I
That's one
know.
of the major things to do, and the thought that you would do it. And for me, I'm much more of a sports go-to-ball game, and the thought, I can't think of going to a game. And I think the interesting thing will be not just when there's a vaccine that people feel is ready, again, staying away from politics, but a vaccine that people feel ready to give. It's going to take people a long time to feel comfortable to want to take it.
Right.
Not everybody will take it.
Right.
And then to see if it works, and then to feel comfortable to do the things. I think I try and explain to people in my sort of world that this is going to be the way it is for a while.
Yes.
I
Agreed.
don't see a change coming so soon,
Yeah.
which is tough, right? I mean, it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, I feel my heart goes out to the actors and the musicians, and I mean, they're people who are out of work. That's their livelihood. This is what they do. I mean, who would have ever thought, they wouldn't be able to perform on stage? I mean, it's really, devastating for them. So.
And as we go through this together, and I think, we've talked about it a few times, the residents, you who are watching, have been incredibly patient and understanding and resilient. It's not easy, and we're here in any way we can. Wendy created a webinar we do with your families. We have a family webinar every 2 weeks, which probably will go to weekly again soon. And we're trying to share information and do things. Catherine, who's off camera, has a department who's doing nothing but trying to find innovative ways to connect and do things to create quality of life for people when they're. I said it's a tough time, and I just always want to remind everybody that you're not in it alone. It's tough in every category. It's not to minimize the experience of how tough it is here. It's really tough everywhere.
Yeah. Well, I think the drive-ins that you put in place have really made such a huge difference for our residents, because now you have found a way safely for families to to be on campus and have that kind of in-person interaction.
Yeah, well, we never thought it would be such a long-lasting program, and of
Right.
course we're committed to do it as we are with the video visits that we do on FaceTime. But we didn't anticipate when we started that in June around Father's Day that would be such a long-lasting.
Yeah.
We reached out to the state with the hope we would do it for a few weeks until we could open and really have
Yeah.
visitation. And we don't suggest that it's ideal for those watching it, our family members or our residents, but at least it's something. And,
Oh, yeah.
really kind of the best thing we could think of, right?
Oh, incredible. I mean,
That's not the way we'd like it to be. We built a nice visitor center, which is on our lawn, which we hope to utilize, but because of the restrictions, that anytime there's an infection, just to remind everybody, a 14-day window starts over again, and just us and really almost all facilities can never really crack that, because there's generally one case that'll pop up, whether it's an active case or the remnants of a case. It just doesn't seem to end.
yeah. Well, so going back to the sports in this new world of ours, do you think that you'll return to going to a baseball game at some point? Can you imagine that?
Well, if you're watching sports now, they've allowed minimal attendance in certain cities and certain stadiums. So if you watched last night, the Chiefs play the Patriots on Monday Night Football, there was maybe 15,000 people at the stadium that normally would hold 85,000 or 80,000. They separate out into little sections and they sit with their pods, their families, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to come to it for a really long time. I mean, the thought, and it's kind of challenging. We have a focus here of doing the work we do, which keeps us moving.
Right.
But when you stop and think about some of the things you've lost or are losing and are being denied, it's tough. That's
Yeah.
why we rely on Catherine and her staff and others to have roving music and things we're doing to try and create things, because we've lost a lot, yet you see the will of the people to battle through anything. I mean, there's, when you walk around here amongst us, there are moments we all feel badly about things, but you see the spirit of people, which really lifts you to say that you make the best of what you got. And whether it's Zoom weddings, Ann, who works with us today, was talking about a Zoom wedding she's going to tonight, or the things that people are doing creatively to create programming off-site through this TV studio here. There's a will to keep going. And I think it speaks to our residents who've been through world wars and all kinds of things that you adapt to what's in front of you.
Right. Well, kind of have to, right? What other choice is there,
I think it's, you could take the tack to put the sheets over your head, or you could say march on, and I feel like I'm seeing a lot of people marching on here.
Agreed.
We certainly saw amongst us staff, Allison was here, Catherine, Wendy and I, our staff rallied really strongly through tough times, to come to work when, a lot of people weren't able to, and, we're committed to the work we're doing here to take care of everyone else, so the show will go on no matter what.
Absolutely.
What are you finding as a nice distraction for you during this time? Do you find you found some things to do differently? We've talked about my photography, which
Right.
you help enjoy with me. But
Yeah.
things that you're finding that you're enjoying doing that are distracting or pleasant for you?
Well, I love spending time with my family, and so we try to find shows that we'll all watch together that we can have fun with. So, our most recent indulgence was Love Island, which is like...
It's a show I would never expect Wendy to do. If I could really describe the show well, you would feel very much more comfortable. How would you describe Love Island? Let's see how you describe it.
So Love Island is...
Have you seen it, Catherine?
No idea.
Oh,
You won't be going home tonight to watch
silly.
it.
It's not on anymore. It's finished.
Okay.
It's finished.
So what happens
It's-
on Love Island?
So you have a bunch of single, young men and women, and they're looking for love. So this
What are they looking for?
love,
Love. Oh, that's what we're
love.
What's our rating on the show? Catherine, do you have a 7-second delay or a... I think love might be one of the things they're looking for, maybe down the road. But
They're looking for love, and so this year's Love Island was actually filmed in Las Vegas.
where
So
love happens every day.
right.
Definitely an island.
So they go and they're single, and
Do they date?
Yeah, it's very funny. So the very first episode, let's say they'll have the women, in a row, and then the men, they meet the men, and then they say, based on what you look like, this is just for the first episode, they decide who they want to be paired up with, who they want to date.
I would just like to keep Wendy talking, because the more she talks about it, you'll get the sense of what kind of show this is.
No, it's all good, clean fun, I promise. So anyway, so they hook.
Can you see that on the camera?
No.
Does she seem a little? Are you adjusting the colors? She seems a little red.
So they hook up and they get to know each other, and then they have the option to continue dating the person that they first selected, or if they don't feel it's a good match, they can select somebody else to date.
With somebody else.
Exactly.
So Catherine, if I said to you that, do you think Wendy watches Love Island? What would you say?
That's not surprising.
It sounds a little
Different.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it actually makes the Bachelor franchise seem like, that's the Brady Bunch.
Or Housewives. I would never expect you to watch.
No, I don't watch that show, but I bet many of our residents watched Love Island. Maybe you could write us and tell us what you thought about it.
I think what's interesting is everybody has sort of guilty pleasure shows they watch, right?
Yes. And yours?
So my mother used to watch like these night soap operas, like Dallas.
Oh, yeah.
Or Dynasty, which
Yep.
were really not Shakespeare. They were sort of a soap opera, I guess is what they were, at night, where there was all kinds of drama going on, and everybody has sort of guilty pleasure shows that they watch. I watch a real estate show called $1 Million
Oh, yeah.
Listing, which is, I wouldn't say the most elaborate show in terms of intellect, but it shows beautiful homes, and they orchestrate it so there's always somebody bidding against each other, or some real estate agent trying to outbid somebody. But I enjoy it because you see these beautiful homes in LA, and I sort of have this dream that I'll get the 7 winning numbers.
And you'll be in one of
I'll
them?
be doing my show remotely from the beaches of Malibu.
So do you root for do you have a particular real estate broker who's on the show that you like or that you don't like?
That's
Or
the houses at the start to me.
Okay.
Because you see these homes in California. I know time is running out, Allison, so I could go on with Wendy forever. You see these homes which are like $30-40 million homes, and it's like a fantasy. They have 12 bedrooms and 14 Imagine 14 bathrooms.
No.
Trying to keep up with cleaning 3 bathrooms or 2 bathrooms.
So any particular homes really stand out that were like, you were like, wow?
I kind of know the type I like. They have sort of what they call the indoor-outdoor flow. So you're
What's
sort of
that?
in your living room, and there's a wall that sort of disappears, and then you go right to your pool. So it's sort of like you come in and out of your living room to your pool, and then at night a glass door will come and close it, so you have a nighttime separation. But during the day, it's sort
Really?
of a flow, which is kind of nice.
And these are all in California?
I learned about that. I've also learned what a wet beach and a dry beach is. Do you know what that is?
I do not.
All right, I'll end with this, Allison, because I know time is running out. If you, for example, bought a house in Malibu on the beach, which I would like if anybody wants to surprise me, that would be a nice gift. If the tide doesn't come in on your beach, that's a dry beach. If their high tide comes in and gets your area wet, so you can't be on it all the time, that's called a wet beach.
So which is more desirable in the real estate
Dry.
world? Dry. Because you don't want the water
You won't
coming
be
near
able
your
to go on
house.
and really- yeah.
Okay. I had
Same
never
all
heard
the time.
that.
So if you pick out a house for me as a surprise,
Okay.
dry beach.
Okay. Everybody
With an
make
open
note.
flow.
Okay.
Okay, I think we've run out of time because Allison gave me the sign. And Wendy, as always, we could talk forever.
Yes.
Thank you for joining me on Tuesday, October 6, 2020. I hope everybody enjoys the 69-degree beautiful day outside with a sweater and whatever activities Catherine's awesome team is providing and you can take advantage of. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy your bologna for lunch, and I will see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Is where the hero home is, for where the heart is.